And I would like to turn this over to Representative Bam Carney.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the committee. We have a House Committee substitute for Senate Bill 151, and first I'd like to move for adoption, or it's not. I'm a member of the committee. I don't know if it's appropriate.
I'll make a second on that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor of adopting the committee sub so we can discuss it, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, like sign.
No.
The ayes have it. In the opinion of the chair.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen. What we are simply wanting to do here, after listening to stakeholders, is bring a proposal for us that is not perfect. No legislation is.
Yes. State your point.
24-hour rule in regards to this.
The chair has waived that for this bill.
So,
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
State your point.
My understanding from KRS 6.350 subparagraph 1 is that an actuarial analysis must accompany this bill before it can be reported favorably from the committee or be considered on the House floor. So do we have a copy of that?
Would you like to speak to that, Leader Shell?
We do not have an actuarial analysis on the full plan that is before you today, but with the Supreme Court case which ruled that the case of the Board of Trustees of the Judicial Forum Retirement System versus the Attorney General of the Commonwealth, that it is not the responsibility or purview of the court to establish or interpret the rules by which the legislature conducts business. And so we can move forward on this without an actuarial analysis.
Thank you. Committee, we are going to...
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
State your point.
Did I understand that the courts basically said they would not make an interpretation of a statute that we've accepted and passed in the legislature? So they're giving that power to us, and we've taken that power, and the power is in that statute. Therefore, we need an actuarial analysis.
That will be dealt with on the floor.
But we can't be passed out of the committee without the actuarial analysis according to the statute.
I believe it can.
No, it cannot if you read the statute, Mr. Chairman, and with all due respect.
I'm ruling that we are going to pass this vote on this matter. We are going to all hear it on the floor. We are all going to speak about it on the floor as anyone wishes to speak, because that's really where we need to get this bill.
But point of order, Mr. Chairman, I don't think a chair could override a statute. The statute says that the actuarial analysis is required before the committee can pass a bill out onto the House floor.
This is very unfair to ask the members of this committee to vote on a bill that's going to impact thousands of Kentuckians, and they bring it in here at the last hour, in the last days of the General Assembly. I think it is really, it says a lot about us as a General Assembly, but it says a lot about the leadership, not only of this committee, but of our chamber, to think that we could come in here and make a decision with a bill that I don't even check the number of pages that are on this bill, and then ask us to make this decision today.
we are looking to basically try to put this on future hires, with that one exception.
In that case, let me say...
This is a committee meeting, sir.
Yes, sir, it is.
And we're allowed to ask questions or anything pertaining to this bill, which none of us has seen except a couple of you guys, and none of us has had a participation in. One is, I've been here 45 years, sir, not 10. And I've never seen such garbage thrown out here in my years of this service. And you're coming here and say you're going to make one change? Baloney. Yet you all sit here and you're going to shaft 25% of the people of this state and go home and say you've done a good job. What this governor wants to do, and what some of you all want to do, is get rid of all the benefits for state workers of what you're trying to do if you go back to it.
Representative Burt.
Sir,
Do you have a question?
I have a question.
Please.
The question is, how can you guys shave in the morning without cutting your throat?
So now we're going to move on to a question. Representative Rand.
Yeah, a couple of questions. First, you said all the stakeholders have been involved in this, so this bill's endorsed by the KEA, by the superintendents, by the Kentucky employer groups that represent these employees.
They've all given feedback, but you know as well as I do, they're never going to endorse any plan.
This is a bill that we've been given today, which we really don't know what's in the bill. And yet the stakeholders who are going to be impacted the most, we're meeting in a small room. We've called a meeting. We've been in recess since 10:30 this morning. We call a meeting at 2 o'clock or whatever time it was. And the stakeholders, we're in this small room where we present stakeholders who are part of this, going to be impacted by this bill. And they're not even here to even within the room to hear the testimony, nor to at least provide some input to what we're about to do. That tells you how much transparency we've had with passing this bill in committee if we pass this bill today. Thank you, Mr.
But I'm one of the few members in this chamber that is still a public educator. So I am one of those stakeholders. And that's why I chose to come forth to be kind of the spokesperson on these changes.
I'm hoping that we can have a representative of the teacher organization to testify here today on this bill. Would that be permitted, Mr. Chairman?
That's not on the, in the order, no.
Could you explain why we're not having a representative of the teachers to testify on this bill, since they are the main people who are going to be affected by it?
We have heard loud and clear how the teachers feel about SB 1.
That's why I feel like this is necessary so we can try to help get to that. So,
yeah, I mean, I understand what you've done strategically is to web these two things together so you could win some votes. But again, I'm concerned about the process, Representative Carney.
I understand.
The other thing, with regard to the fiscal note, do we have a fiscal note, Mr. Chairman, on the bill?
Not on the committee sub, no.
Will we have one before it's voted on in the House floor?
I cannot answer that.
Well, but I think you can request it, can't you? Or,
Does anyone have a question on the bill?
well, that's what I'm asking these questions about the bill, Mr.
Representative Richards.
Can I finish my time, Mr. Chairman?
I've called on Representative Richards. Representative Richards? Seeing no other questions, Madam Secretary, please call the roll.
Mr. Chairman, sir, I'm
Yes, sir.
not on the committee, but I wonder if
Correct.
I can make a few comments on the bill. Is that possible or not?
Are these the same you'll be making on the floor,
Well,
sir?
I don't know if they are or not. I may have some different ones I make on the floor about this bill. But I think this bill, as we said, it's 291 pages. It's a bill that makes changes to a system that we've had in place for some time. It makes changes to major reforms that we made in 08 and 13 that I would submit to you, and this committee is working. We put in 13 language that said we would fully fund the ARC, and we did in the 14 budget, and we did in the 16 budget. And because of that, year before last, teacher retirement grew by 15.5%. Last year, because of those investments, return last year was 18.4%.
Thank you. I appreciate your comments. I will point out that since 2013, the unfunded liability has continued to
We
increase.
said then.
Representative Kay, I'm sorry, I
Mr.
almost
Chairman?
cut you off, but you're out of order, sir.
You're out of order too. By this statute,
Would you-
you're out of order.